This is Killer Innovations, a show about ideas, creativity, and how you can innovate. Welcome to the Innovator's Garage, where you learn to create your next game-changing killer innovation.
Companies that get accepted into Boomtown are working on transforming their early ideas into being wildly successful companies. I'm Phil McKinney, and you're listening to Killer Innovations. So this segment, we're going to talk to one of the companies that is actually in Boomtown, working in the current group of companies. So today I've got Aiden Chopra, who's the co-founder of Bitsbox. So Aiden, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background on Bitsbox.
You bet. Thanks, Phil. My name is Aiden Chopra. I co-founded Bitsbox about a year and a half ago with a guy named Scott Leininger. I am the Chief Product Officer. I guess the first thing that we were trying to solve was how to best teach kids to code. Everybody agrees that coding and kids are sort of a match made in heaven. If we want the next generation to succeed, they should be writing computer code, not so that they can be programmers any more than teaching your kids to read and write makes them into novelists, just so that they can be contributing members of creative society who can make stuff. So we did a lot of research into it, and we realized the hard part about teaching kids to code isn't getting them interested. Kids will have fun doing anything for 10 minutes. The hard part is keeping them interested. So our business evolved really quickly from being more than just a website. We're actually a monthly box, a physical box. We're both content creator guys with a booklet full of apps that they can code and trading cards with apps on them and stickers and temporary tattoos and a toy. Everything goes with the theme. Kids get it every month. Every month they're learning to code because coding is just a language, and the way that you learn a language is through repetition and practice.
Yeah, there's a lot of organizations out there that are trying to crack the nut on this. How do you get kids early interested in the prospect, or at least the interest of coding? But yours is a little bit different because you're aiming at a younger demographic than a lot of the other sites and organizations that are out there. Correct?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't, so here's the thing. Like I said, it's a language, right? And when do you teach a language? You teach language as soon as possible, right? Kids are wired for language when they're 2 or 3. Coding's a little tricky at that age because they're not really typing yet or writing. But we aim as young as possible, 5, 6, 7, right when they're learning to read. That's when they need to be learning to type anyway, because that's actually how people communicate now in writing. And as soon as they're doing that, they're sitting there and they're thinking logically, and they're learning to put things, operations in order, and they're learning to give variables to things and all that sort of thing. So we start as young as possible.
So what is that? Is it kind of a K-5 thing? What's the target demographic for kids for Bitsbox?
We say our age range is 6 to 12, but then you've got your braggart parents who tweet that their 4-year-old just wrote their first app, and we've actually got plenty of high school kids who are doing this as well. The system itself is fun for any age, but our content is directed to sort of 6 to 12-year-olds.
And you've taken a little bit of a different approach. You're not like trying to teach them existing programming languages, if I've read that correctly.
It's a take on JavaScript. Okay. So we start with JavaScript, and then we realize that whereas JavaScript's actually probably the most useful simple scripting language that they could be using, it's actually not the easiest to learn. So it's ubiquitous, but it's not simple. So what we did is we created a small API, a library of short commands that are really easy for new readers to type, things like fill and stamp and stuff like that, that makes it really easy to kids do exciting graphics and audio work very quickly. They get instant gratification by coding these little apps. Instead of having to code 50 lines, which is really hard for a 7-year-old, they can code 3 lines and they still make something cool.
So who's the customer then? Are you out trying to beat the bush for parents who want to introduce this?
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's parents, and what we find actually aunts, uncles, grandparents, anybody who's looking for a gift for a kid in that age range, Bitsbox works great for.
Yeah, I think my grandkids are still a little young. I got 3, 2, and a 1.5, so I got to wait a little bit.
Might be.
I want to be one of those braggart grandparents. So I can brag about my grandkids. But so, do you then create it and target for the? Because I mean, it's 6 to 12 is a pretty wide range. Do you then have specific things in the box aimed at those different kids?
Every box starts at the beginning. So no matter when you sign up, you get the next box, and there's stuff that's incredibly beginner level stuff in there, all the way up to something more advanced at the end of the book. The idea isn't that a kid would do all of the content in the box at all. the point is for them just to be inspired by something in the book. And so older kids are inspired by more complicated stuff at the end. Younger kids tend to start at the beginning and do that stuff. But really, because they can change and adapt to anything that's in the book, it doesn't really matter where they start, and they don't have to do everything.
So you're up, you're running, you got boxes, you're shipping them out.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you know today that you wish you knew when you started the whole thing? What's one of those one surprises? Oh no, if I knew this, I would have done it completely different.
I think it's not a surprise, because I think a lot of smart people told us this at the beginning, but anytime you're publishing something on a schedule, it's a total hamster wheel, which means things that you thought you would have time for, like product testing or asking questions or innovating from month to month, kind of goes out the window as you're trying to just get stuff done every month. So we're having an immense amount of fun making this stuff. Our last theme was food that just went out. It was called Food for Thought. I made an app where kids can make virtual pancakes on their iPads and flip them. They have to flip them soon enough that they don't burn, but if they flip them too soon, they're raw, that kind of thing. I think what would really benefit us is maybe to have gone to a 2-month schedule instead of a 1-month schedule right off. But we started selling a product on Kickstarter, and then afterwards it's monthly, and so we're sort of in that product time frame right now.
Yeah, I can feel your pain. I started the podcast 11 years ago, started off as a weekly, and boy, as soon as you got a listener base that's expecting it, you kind of get caught in that hamster wheel that just never ends.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Well, it's always good about time boxing, right?
Yeah.
You got to get it done. So what's next coming up for Bitsbox? What's coming up in the near future? Changes to the business or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started focusing on parents, individual kids, but we're getting flooded with requests from educators all over the world. We're huge in Australia right now, believe it or not. We shipped to something like 59 countries already. But educators around the world are asking us for Bitsbox for their classrooms, and that's making us really think hard about how we use these materials in the classroom, design them that way. We're going to be offering an educator kit for Computer Science Education Week, the second week of December this year, that we're going to make available either for free or incredibly low cost to educators in the U.S. and Canada. So watch out for that on our website.
That's great. Hey, if someone wants to follow you, where's the best place to follow you and Bitsbox?
We're Bitsbox Kids on Twitter and on Facebook, so at Bitsbox Kids. And our website is just bitsbox.com.
Wow, you got the bitsbox.com.
We bought the bitsbox.com. Yeah.
That's great. So this has been great, and actually I'm going to corner Aiden afterwards because I've got a personal passion on education, particularly K through 12.
Great.
In developing countries, so I'm going to put the arm twist on Aiden to help me out on that one, given particularly your educator's focus. If you're looking to learn more about ideas and creativity, text the word innovate to 33444. And or if you're outside the U.S., you can email innovate@killerinnovations.com. I'll be posting all of the show notes at the Killer Innovation site, so check that out. And when we come back, we're going to meet a second founder currently here at Boomtown and hear their story. It's a little bit of a different business and target segment, but one that's also near and dear to my heart given my day job. So this will actually be one that I can apply. But I appreciate the time. I'm Phil McKinney. We're listening to Killer Innovations, and we'll be right back.
Biz Talk Radio.